Get ready. It's time for Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk with Rick Hughes and David Whitecarver.
This is
Bucs Live.
Let's Go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to Bucs Live. I am one of your hosts, Rick Hughes, along with the dazzling David Whitecarver, who's here with me. And we are here to have a good time tonight and talk live about Bucs football. And there's a lot to talk about. So we're going to fly through a lot of this stuff because there's so much to cover. We have a special guest. Slick Probert from Bucs UK will be joining us in about 15 minutes. And, man, we got a lot to go over. First news, Bucs news. It is official. It is official that the Bucs cut Donovan Smith. They have waived him. He is gone. Say goodbye to him. Say goodbye to Lenny, and say goodbye to Cam Brate. Will there be others? We got a lot to talk about when it comes to that.
Thank you for your
Dave.
service.
Yes, sir. Dave, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantabulous. About yourself?
Doing great. Did you have a good week?
Yes, I did. It was an excellent week.
Excellent. It's been a busy week for the NFL. 1 week before the NFL New Year, and all kinds of things are going. Rumors are
The
flying.
real New Year.
Yeah,
Not January 1st. Something that matters.
Right. That's right. Look, there's so much news and rumors flying around. Rumors. Holy cow. People are just, it's amazing. The people are jumping on every rumor that comes down the pipe. I mean, I've heard everybody's going everywhere. I mean, Brady's going to Miami and Gronk's joining him. Now Brady comes out and says, yeah, no, I'm not. And Miami today came out and said, and I thought this was interesting. Miami came out today and said, we're not looking for a starting quarterback. We have our starting quarterback. That we're all in on Tua. That means they're saying their door's closed on Brady. And before anybody gets the rumors going about Lamar and all that other stuff, they shut down the rumors. Now, can things change? Of course they can. But everybody, it's rumor central. Teams are throwing crap against the wall to misdirect and mislead and get you looking over here when they're doing something over here. I mean, it's
Bears going to trade the number 1 pick. No, they're not. Yes, they are.
Right. Who's going where, what's going on. We're going to try to make sense of some of it. We are going to talk a little bit about, by the way, we will get into this Anthony Richardson talk. And we will get into what moves we should make during the offseason. We will get into all of that. There's so much to cover, guys. Holy cow. Who are we going to draft? Who's going to be around? One thing I do want to do, let's go through the quarterback carousel from today and all the stuff that came flying down the pipe. Daniel Jones signed with the Giants, 4 years, $160 million. Really, honestly,
that's a lot.
It is honestly, it's 2 years for $82 million, still a lot. Then they immediately put the franchise tag on Saquon Barkley, but it's 4 years, $160 million. It's $40 million a year, and the Ravens put the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, which means he's making $32 million this year. Now, the way the non-exclusive franchise tag works, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, is he will be playing for $32 million for the Ravens, or another team can come along, and I believe it's 2 picks. They would get.
Well, it's whatever they designate him as. They can designate him as that. It's not. He's not eligible for another team to match an offer, or they can make it so that they can. And yes, they would get 2 first-round draft picks.
They already did. It's a non-exclusive.
Okay.
On him, so
then another team can come along, and then it's up to the Ravens whether they want to match the offer.
Correct.
They would get 2 first-round draft picks as compensation.
Correct. Now, I do want to throw in one thing, just to get you guys all lathered up. Okay. $32 million is not an insane amount of money for a quarterback these days. It is not out of the realm of possibility that the Bucs could pay a quarterback this year $32 million if they wanted to, or 33 or 35. It's not out of the realm of possibility, guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it should happen. I am telling you, from a numbers standpoint, by the time all the renegotiating, by the time everything's done here, it's not an impossibility that the Bucs could try to get Lamar. Having said that, understand while it is doable, you're going to have to say goodbye to some very well-known names. Not only are you saying goodbye to Leonard Fournette and Cam Brate and Donovan Smith and Ryan Suckup, but you'll be saying goodbye to Levante David and Devin White, but it can get done. And that is something, it's just interesting to throw out there and, for you guys to at least think about. I'm not saying it should happen. Matter of fact, I don't think it should happen, but I am saying it could happen. And if you're the Glazers, the amount of tickets that would be sold, the amount of jerseys that would be sold, the amount of money that would be made from a business standpoint, I would understand it. Now, Dave, everything you want to add to that whole little mess?
Well, it is a mess with the salary cap, and I think it's pretty obvious that the Bucs are going to go into at least a reload mode, and I think next season it's going to be basically a wash. That's why they decided to take the cap hit, the rather substantial cap hit from Tom Brady retiring, in one season instead of spreading it out over 2.
Why do you think it's a wash? Why do you go all the way to say it's a wash in this division when everybody sucks?
Well, I don't know if you can say that about the Saints now that they have David Carr. They still have a solid defense, and he has some weapons.
And they're going to have to cut a lot of people, and one of their main weapons, Alvin Kamara, is going to be suspended for the beginning of the season.
Oh, I didn't say it's going to be rosy in New Orleans, but they're certainly going to be, I think, the favorite to win the division in the upcoming season.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Just based on the quarterback.
No, not based on the quarterback, but based on what's around him, and that I think New Orleans is going to improve remarkably with him at quarterback. Look what they've had the last few years since Mr. Breeze hung him up. Agreed.
And one thing I want to say about Lamar Jackson is when you're thinking about him, keep this in mind. If another team wants him, they can go get him. Who are the teams looking for quarterbacks? Carolina, Atlanta, maybe Washington, maybe Miami. All of them came out and said, thanks, but no thanks to Lamar Jackson. All of them came out and said, no, thank you. We're not interested in Lamar Jackson. I think that's interesting.
Well, and we brought this up before. He's a running quarterback, and running quarterbacks can be quite brittle. And I think people are leery. There's a lot of general managers and a lot of executives in the NFL that are leery of giving a long-term, very large contract to a running quarterback.
Buffalo has Josh Allen, and I think he's in some ways an exception to the rule. He's a big dude, and there's also perhaps you've heard of him, Dave. Like your opinion on another rather large fella that's coming. That's going to be in the draft. I don't think there's any way he's going to make it down to the Bucs, but people like to talk. Should we trade up and get him? Should we not trade up and get him? What's the deal? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, since you're just a tad bit of a Gator fan, what about all this Anthony Richardson hubbub?
Well, here are the facts. Last season, the Gators were 6-7. It was the first year that Anthony Richardson was a regular starter. The prior season, the only game he started was against Georgia, and we all know how that turned out. He is a raw talent. People are overzealous when it comes to, oh, look how fast he could run, look how high he can jump. I mean, I believe I texted you during the week. How did Montana and Brady grade out on their combine? So just because you're a phenomenal athlete, I don't know. There was one that comes to mind who led his team to a national championship, was the number 1 overall pick, had a cannon for an arm, and was going to lead the Bucs to the promised land. And that didn't work out.
Who's that?
That'd be Jameis Winston.
Oh!
So there's more to this than how high you can jump, how far you can throw a football. There's a lot more to it. And in an SEC season, Anthony Richardson did not look stellar. He looked serviceable. And if you want to go roll the dice with him, maybe not. We'll see. But I don't think he's certainly a lock to be an NFL star.
Now, okay, my thoughts on him, I don't know that he's going to be an NFL star. I certainly don't think long term. I don't think Josh Allen will be either. I don't think any running quarterback can be. I don't think you'd necessarily draft a running quarterback for the long run. You try to get 5-6 years out of them. And they can be pretty spectacular years. The guy that I believe Anthony Richardson reminds me of is I think he's less refined, less polished, less accurate Cam Newton. He's a Anthony Richardson
without the flair.
Well, I don't know about that. He has the possibility.
There's a lot of flair there.
Yeah, there was a lot of flair. Look, Anthony Richardson is, I guess the best way for me when I think about him going forward, he could be phenomenal. But the opportunity for him to be phenomenal is it's like trying to thread a needle at 500 miles an hour. I mean, it's going to be a tough sell. I'm not sure he can do. Look, if he was on the Bucs, if somehow he ends up on the Buccaneers, well, I'm gonna pull out the seatbelt. We're gonna have some fun shows. I can tell you that.
The circus would be back to town.
And the circus would be back, and it would be a brand new circus because while they would be starting Trask, everybody would be saying, as soon as Trask threw an interception, everybody would be screaming for the backup. And I think that's a big thing, guys, is you have to recognize and realize that whoever the Buccaneers bring in, they're going to bring in a quarterback. This is most likely. They're going to bring in a quarterback that is that nobody really wants to see on the field, okay? So that when Trask throws a pick or blows a game, nobody's immediately saying, oh, man, we should have started whoever, Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, anybody who's had any level of success. I do want to bring up something. I have not heard this flying around anywhere, but something that makes sense in my head. I've not seen this anywhere, so put very little stock in it. Do you guys know who got hired to be the Ravens offensive coordinator? Todd Monken. Okay, the guy that everybody wanted here with the Bucs was Todd Monken, the Georgia offensive coordinator. He is now with the Ravens. Todd Monken's last good year in the NFL, he was with Cleveland. And the quarterback that he made look really, really good that year, the quarterback that played really good that year was who? Baker Mayfield. All I'm saying is if Lamar gets picked up by somebody, and I imagine I could see that happening, somebody's probably going to take a flyer on Lamar. Why wouldn't you? Baker Mayfield fits Baltimore better than Lamar does. I don't think Baltimore, when I think of the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think flash, flare, style. I think gritty, hard-nosed.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Ed Reed.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's and Joe Flacco.
Flacco.
That's what I see.
There's no flair or flash there.
Or talent. Oops, did I say that? But it's just an interesting tie-in to know the Monken had a great year with Baker Mayfield. They really worked well together. Baker Mayfield is available, and the Ravens may be looking for a quarterback. Also, if Lamar, let's say Lamar ended up, where else could he go? Who else is looking for a quarterback? Well, who got on a plane and flew to Green Bay today to talk to Aaron Rodgers? The New York Jets. Okay, they're speaking to Rodgers as we speak. Right? They're having conversations about coming to New York. Rodgers has said he's open to it. All right.
I wonder if it's in a completely dark room or not.
Now let's say he is let's say he is going to, or let's say he doesn't go to New York. All right. All of a sudden, New York needs a quarterback. Lamar fitting there makes sense. And then where do you put Rodgers? Imagine, if you would, for just a moment, Aaron Rodgers in Baltimore. That feels right. That makes sense. There's something about that fits. I don't know what you guys think. Dave, your thoughts?
I can't sit there and say that when I think of John Harbaugh, I think of Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers will bring the circus to town, and John Harbaugh's just not a circus kind of guy. I could definitely see the Jets.
He's had Lamar Jackson.
But we're already talking about him not being with them anymore.
Right.
So I just don't see Aaron Rodgers fitting into the mold of being Baltimore. I mean, Lamar Jackson was a late first round pick. I don't think anybody thought he was going to be what he's become. But it just doesn't seem like a fit to me. But stranger things have happened. Nobody was expecting the Bucs to land Tom Brady, and look how that worked out. So people can get over fits or what you might think doesn't work and make it work. But I just don't see John Harbaugh as the kind of guy putting up with, quite frankly, Aaron Rodgers' antics.
Okay. I don't know. Does he have a lot of antics in season, or is it just during the off season? And by the way, yes, I see the comments, all 500 of them that were getting flown out there. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see Rodgers as having a lot of antics during the season. Dave?
Well, I guess we're in the off season, and him going into his hibernation in a completely dark room for 4 days is fresh in my mind.
During the season.
I understand that, but we're in the off season, and that's fresh in my mind. So
yeah,
they could make it work, but I just don't see John Harbaugh as seeking that out. And while Lamar Jackson's a flashy player, he's not a troublemaker, or he's not making the front office
exactly
and that type of thing. So I see a difference between flashy player and difficult to get along with if you're an executive. And I don't really see Aaron Rodgers meshing with the Baltimore organization.
Well, there's somebody I do want to ask about that. Let's bring him in from the UK. It's the middle of the night from Bucs UK, from the aftermath on Bucs Report.
Slick, how the kids?
They're asleep for a change.
Excellent.
But I can hear someone's tablet going, so that you never know. You never know. You can just totally sleep and there's that KO'd. But yeah, what an introduction! Thank you guys. Yeah, quarterbacks. It's gone a bit mad. We've had two signed today.
Yeah. Well, yes, 2 signed today. A lot more than that going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about. I know this is crazy, and I'm not saying I want this to happen, but if you were to with who's already been cut with Lenny and Brait and Donovan Smith,
mm-hmm.
if you lose Devin and Levante, you can afford Lamar Jackson. I know that gets all of a sudden it gets weird. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I actually don't. But with a horizontal offense, that would be interesting. It almost fits the kind of offense.
We'll be going back to the days of watching the Bucs score and watching our defense just eat it.
Yes. The games would be, once again, they'd be like 40-37 every week. I mean,
as long as you got 40, nobody cares.
Well, I didn't say which team had the 40, though. That's the problem.
True.
But
yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see where he goes. The Bucs are one of the teams that people think it makes sense to go to. Look, you can always sign the quarterback for $1 million and just have everything else in bonus money. If you just make bullshit bonuses, like, oh no, every game you start, you get $1 million. Fucking easy. You can put that into every time you score a touchdown, you get $100,000. It's you can just make it up as you go along, and you make really easy goals to reach. Which is one of the things I did. I did a piece on where we would sign 3 potential quarterbacks, but the what's on the table is about $8 million bonus money that's there for the guy who basically fights for the job and takes the job. Whether that actually works, I don't know. It's just me thinking, maybe I could find a different way of doing things.
Yeah,
but
the problem is if you're Lamar Jackson and you go out there and you're giving, you're doing what you do and you get hurt in the second game. No, you want guaranteed money.
For sure. But there's signing bonuses, and there's other ways that they can play with that money to give it to him anyway. I mean, we had a season with Deshaun Watson where he only got paid $1 million. So they played around. They can manipulate the cap ready for next season if they need to.
Well, let's be realistic. Paying $40 million a year for a quarterback, that's just the reality of it. I mean, if you want to have an established quarterback. Having said that, and I've said this so many times on this show, 3 of the final 4 teams had quarterbacks on rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way you can afford to pay the rest of your.
For sure, eventually, some of those guys are going to walk in, unless you're going to have people doing Brady deals where they would, reportionize their contracts and restructure their contracts to allow players to stay around. But you can't keep all these superstars. It's just we're seeing the bite of it now.
Right. What are your thoughts on Richardson.
I mean, if we need a quarterback that can jump, great. I don't care. I want to see him throw the football. I want to see him throw deep outs. I want to see him throw the angle routes. I want to see him read a defense. That's what matters. The fact, yeah, he's big, strong. That's all well and good. Cam Newton lasted how long? He had one. Yeah, Cam Newton had his moments, but at the same time, he also got injured a heck of a lot because he relies on his athletic traits. That he had the body of like a 6 foot something running back, and eventually time took over and he just became not as good.
Well, the pounding took over. I mean, over time that takes a lot. I don't care.
He kept pounding and they pounded back.
Yeah,
Tom Brady didn't play more than 2 decades by getting hit all the time.
Right. Exactly.
Business.
Yeah. And now I want to talk about Levante David. Now I want to have an honest conversation about Levante David, not an emotional conversation about Levante David. Okay. And
remember,
it's
I
hard.
have a signed autographed jersey by him, so I have an emotional attachment.
Well, it's
same.
We've all been big Levante fans, and Levante is fantastic. He is. I'm not saying he has not lost that yet. Okay.
I agree.
All right. Derek Brooks. Oh, well, first of all, this is Levante's 11th year.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Brooks in his 12th year took a big step backwards. In his 13th year, he was atrocious. That may be what we're looking for.
He's got about 3 years left in him, maximum. I don't see it going past that.
That's the maximum.
Yeah, that's a maximum. So I'm looking at 1 or 2 years. He could fool us all and still be great for another 3, 4, or 5 years. We just don't know. But there's going to come that decline's going to hit around about age 32 plus. That's when you're going to see a bit more. But he is so smart that I believe he'll be playing average for a good 2 years.
My question is this the time that you cut ties a la New England?
Mm-hmm.
You got a year or 2 left. This is when you cut. Is that what you do? I mean, no. I'm not saying it's easy, but you also have Devin White to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I may be the only person willing to say this. I don't know what you guys think. I hope we trade Devin White.
Okay.
Devin White to me is, I know we've been hearing Todd Bowles say he's one of the best 3 players on the team. I got to call BS on that. I mean, really? One of the best 3? You're going to put him in front of who? Which one's out? Vita Vea, Levante David,
Sure.
Antoine Winfield. Who's out of this mix here?
Mm-hmm.
Where you say Devin White's better?
Well, I think he was speaking metaphorically.
Evangelistically. I just Devin White, you can get something for him.
Yes, you would. Yeah, you definitely. If you shop him, you definitely get some for him. And if you don't, he's still gonna. You've got him on your roster anyway, so you don't. It's not like you're not desperate to get rid of him. If you know what I mean, you're just let's see what we could get.
He wants $25 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they right now. I forgot the other guy's name. Oh crap! Who's the guy that they compare him to? Playing now. Anyway, there's another big inside line.
Used to be in Chicago.
Not the one that went to the Raiders, or not that guy. But well, anyway, the point of the matter is that's a lot of money for that position, and I'm not sure he's worth that. I mean, he has great flash plays. My thought about Devin White is you get great flash plays that everybody oohs and ahs over, but all the other plays that he's missing tackles and overrunning tackles, and that's a problem.
That's how I said this on the aftermath. Actually, what you've just said. So me and you are in agreement. I say with Levante, you get no frills, but you get pure consistency. You don't
Absolutely.
get that. What you get with Devin White is highlights and lowlights, and a bit, and he can, for the most part, put games together and go on a bit of a run. But when he hits a bad patch, he can hit a real bad patch, and we saw that last year. So I'm in complete agreement. It's just what you're going to get from what do the Buccaneers feel is a realistic? Yeah, we got something worthwhile for this.
Well, I think you can still get a 1 for him at this point.
Would you be open to a Justin Fields Devin White trade?
Without a second thought, without yes.
Not that big.
Let me rephrase that. Yes. Okay. Look, the upside for Fields, if you have Fields throwing to Mike Evans, Russell Gage, do you remember what the description is that our brand new shiny offensive coordinator says he wants the quarterback to be like? A point guard.
Yeah.
Justin Fields screams point guard.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on him as most other people are.
Well, it's not going to happen
either.
I just don't see it.
He's a great athlete.
Yeah.
Do you guys, it's not every running quarterback means he's bad.
No. I'm not just. I've just not seen it, and he's on a bad team. But I don't know. I'm very nervous when it comes to quarterbacks because I've seen a lot of them turn into pumpkins. But we get told they're generational talents. We get told they're the next coming of Peyton Manning, and then they go to a crap team.
Right.
And then
he has NFL experience. This is the difference. Sure. He has NFL experience. You draft a rookie. Cross your fingers, cross your toes, arms, legs, hope it happens, whatever. You know this guy's performed well. He just has nobody around him for him.
Oh, he's a definite upgrade at quarterback position with what we have now. There's no doubt there.
He's one of those guys I feel bad for because I just see so much talent in that guy. If Andy Reid had him, if something happened to Mahomes and Andy Reid had Justin Fields, I don't think there'd be a massive drop off. I think I think there's an issue with who he's playing with, and I think that's the problem. I watched your show last night, Coach, and tell everybody about your show.
Well, it's supposed to be a bit of an argument show that was kind of set up for me and AJ because AJ's quite a passionate guy and I'm a little bit more thought out in what I say, and we end up tending to agree a lot of the time. So the idea didn't plan. There'll be sometimes where we disagree, but the idea was to kind of be like an argument. You're supposed to be able to come to the aftermath. We let a lot of people on who are just like floating around. They can come in and just say their piece, and there's no persecution against them because let's face it, there are people out there with some wacky ideas, and sometimes they're not so bad. Sometimes they're completely out there, and people think we should just trade the farm in. There's people out there who think we should be super, super conservative. There's some people who think Kyle Trask will have a bust in Canton in a few years' time, and there's other people out there who think he's Kyle Trash. So it's a kind of vibrancy show, and we want to showcase a little bit of everybody.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed the show last night. I've got great info on the draft and all kinds of things. I actually really loved the show.
I have a big question for Coach Slick, a very important one. Rick and I became Bucs fans because it was 75 miles down the road. We're a bit of rebels and outcasts to begin with, so we latched on to the Bucs in a very Dolphin state. How did you become a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan on a different continent? That's the burning question I would like to have answered.
I'd like to say it's a really impressive one, but it's quite simple, really. The wife and I went for a honeymoon to Orlando. We went to Tampa Busch Gardens, and I wanted to catch the spectacle of an NFL game. I still hadn't picked the Bucs as my team at that point, and then I went down this common denominator of all the teams in the NFL. I went, right, where would I like to go on holiday? Because there are some teams that had cool logos and cool uniforms. I really liked the Seahawks uniform. I thought, oh, that looks really cool, and they were playing well at the time. So I was kind of, they could, and I'm like, do I really want to go to Seattle? I could turn around to my wife and babe, really nice, because going to America is expensive for us. That's like 10 grand done, right? And that's probably what 13,000 over in your money, right? So it's a good chunk of change, right? We're going to Seattle. She's gonna look at me and go, "Get out of here." With the ball, it's done. It's over. But I turn around to her and say, "We're going to Florida." So that kind of put a few teams in play. New York kind of put a few teams in play, and then it was kind of like, which team looks better? I like the Bucs' history, the colors. I'm always a big fan of red and black, so red and pewter's not far off. And then from there we went on holiday, went to a game. We got our asses kicked by the Ravens. Left away. People apologized for me because they could hear my accent talking to my wife about the game. And they're like, we're so sorry you had to watch that shit. And it just kind of stuck. That's my team. And then it's quite nice picking a team that isn't great and then they win a Super Bowl, because that you can
absolutely.
There you go. It means something. It's not one of 7.
Absolutely.
So I've had a little growing pain, and maybe not as much as you guys. You guys had a bit more growing pain than me. I'm 2013, so
there's been a lot of pain.
A lot of pain. Years of 10 or more losses. We would literally say, wait till next year in the preseason for the next year.
Hey, Coach, question: who do you want us to draft?
I'm going to go safe and go with, I think it's Anton Harrison, the tackle of Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I just think he's the one that's going to be there. I'd like Broderick Jones. I would love that to be there, but I just don't see it panning out. But
if you had your druthers, that's who it would be, right? It would be Broderick Jones.
I want the left tackle because we've got rid of the left tackle, so that's a glaring position of need. Like, I like.
You have any feelings about DeJuan? Have any feelings on DeJuan Jones?
Sorry?
DeJuan Jones, he's a tackle out of Ohio State. Any thoughts?
I like him. Again, I don't think he's going to be one that might not be there. I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Okay. So you're thinking Antoine Harrison. Okay.
That's who I think is going to be there. I mean, if there's better caliber there, then you go with the guy who's hotter. I mean, for me, Broderick Jones is the dream.
Okay.
That's the dream. Right. They make good O linemen in that program
in Georgia. Well, they do in Georgia. I don't know about Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, I know they make good D linemen and Gerald McCoy, but sorry, I said that out loud.
That's where I would go.
Okay, I think I'm in agreement with you. I think I'm pretty much in agreement with you. On those guys, I mean, I think we probably feel the same. Where, I want Broderick Jones, but I also want to win the lottery.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that.
What do you think? Do either of you think the Bucs should trade up, and if so, for what?
It depends on what you're having to give up to get there. You know, you could realistically, the Buccaneers holes on their team right now, they have to slam dunk 3 picks. That's guaranteed. And realistically, that's going to be your top 3. Sometimes you can get a player that's a dark horse no one thought about. You know, in the past, we've had a couple. I thought Cade Otton was one of those players. I think if he had more reps thrown to him or had a bit more opportunity, I think he would have shined a little bit more. He's probably the second best tight end drafted from his draft class. So that says something. But it depends on what you got to do up to get there. And usually, if you're going up more than 5 spots, you're probably having to give up a 3rd or a 2nd.
Now, how many picks do the Bucs have this year? Do you know the answer to that?
I think they have 8.
Okay, it's either it's 8 or 9.
1,
right.
3, 4. I think it's 5, 5, 6, 7, 7.
Right. Okay, so it's 9. Right. Mm-hmm. The 1 through 7, and then 2 extras.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. Right. Okay. So you and I are thinking the same thing. Okay. So if they have the same number, my thought process, if you have to have 3 that hit, this is not a top-heavy draft. Some drafts, you've got the superstars, and then it drops off big time. That was last year. this year's draft is very middle heavy. I think you can get good players in the third round, fourth round. So I want to trade down. I want to gather assets. If you have to rebuild the team and you have to hit, then you want more shots at hitting. And
Absolutely.
one thing you said on the show last night that I know is going to make Dave's head explode, and I didn't tell him about this, or this came out on your show last night.
I love surprises.
Okay. It's not, I don't know that you're the one that said it. I don't remember, to be honest with you. It may have been your guest. The Bucs are going to draft a kicker this year.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going
round
to
2, baby. Round 2.
I believe the one was Jake Moody from Michigan when that was being spoken about. He was in my mock draft. He was 7th round. I used an algorithm because that's easy. I'm not going to sit there and try and work out the values and stuff like that. I just used the draft algorithm. I know that's not realistic, but you got to go with what you got, right?
Really, seriously, you're trying to be realistic in a mock draft? No,
exactly. You don't really know what happens, but you put your mock draft up and people go, well, that person's not going to be there. That person's not going to be there. That person, leave me alone.
Right.
I just followed the algorithm.
Right.
You can tell me I'm going to sit there and Broderick Jones is sat there and I'm like, nah, I won't take him because he's not going to be there in real life, so I'm not going to pick him. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course you're going to pick him at that point. Okay, I wanted your thoughts. I mean, we have a bit of a bad track record when it comes to drafting kickers.
Yes, we do. And they also
do we do it again?
Go up and do quite well for themselves.
We did it on a punter last year, though.
We did.
Yes, we did.
In the 4th.
By the way, you're a guest. I learned this is why everybody needs to tune in to the aftermath, because I learned something last night from one of your guests.
JT?
There's something called the RAS rating.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was like the RAS something.
RAS rating. It's basically the athleticism, the top end athleticism of a player.
And
this is fascinating. Jason Light for the last 5 years has drafted. This is so great. I got this on Slick's show. For the last 5 years, the Buccaneers have drafted a player that they met that I believe was, I forgot how they classified it. It was one of the top
percentile.
Right, top percentile in the RAS
in their like category, so to speak.
Right, and I believe he brought up Christian Gonzalez, who is a cornerback from Oregon that the Bucs met with. The Bucs have met with a lot of tackles, by the way. So yeah, I mean there's a good shot of all of that. But I just wanted to give you props because that was an excellent point that came out on your show, and I learned a lot last night. I learned a lot on your show.
Same. So did I. To be honest, I never heard of that. I was like, wow, he's really done his research. You know that there's a reason why he's one of the lead writers of
Bucs Report. Yeah.
For the record, the Bucs have a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick, no 4th, and then 2 5th, 6th, and 7th to get to 9.
Okay, so no 4th.
No 4th.
So trade down, pick up a 4th.
It depends. I mean, if someone's needing something,
right, you get the right guy at the right time, you can get more.
Exactly. I mean, it depends on what's available at the time. If there's a wide receiver that's sitting there, you're not going to draft the wide receiver because you don't need one,
right?
Realistically, so you can go, all right, well, we'll trade down. So someone might want to get them, but the team in front, right behind you, is needing that position. Then you can start to do one of these things, and you get a 3rd, which is should be looking at a starter if you can get it, if you can pick right.
Yeah. Now I'm hoping. I would love to see the Bucs do what New England did for years, and you end up with like 12 picks in the draft. To start collecting for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Start, trade down. Okay, you move from 19 to 24, but you pick up a pick next year. Then maybe you move down again, or your 2nd round pick, you move down, pick up a pick for next year. And you end up with a ton of picks next year. And that way what you can do is bundle them and move up and get somebody that is. So, and you still get all your picks from this year. So, I mean, that's something I would love to see them do. But yeah, I mean, guys, I think the Bucs are going to draft a tackle. I do think they're going to draft a tackle. All signs show that they're going to draft a tackle. It looks as though Tristan Wirfs are going to try to move to the left side.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, he did great in the one college game. What's that?
They'll know pretty quick if he's going to be successful in that position. I mean, like,
well, he did it, and he did it in college. He did it in college, and there was no drop off. So I think it'll be fine. He had to move when somebody got injured. So I'm not opposed to that. I'd rather put him on the blind side. And Luke Gedeke, when Wirfs was out, Luke Gedeke actually played decently at right tackle. Now, Luke Gedeke cannot apparently play left guard, but he apparently can play left tackle. So, I mean, at least that way we would have depth if we pick up a right tackle. So I'm kind of okay with that. I want to see them pick up somebody on the interior to help Vita Vea out.
I agree. That would be my second pick.
Yeah, okay.
That would be my second or third pick, depending on what was available again.
Okay. And by the way, I forgot to mention when I was going through Carr to New Orleans and I was going through all the moves, Garoppolo apparently is going to the Raiders, it looks like. I forgot to mention that. I didn't mention that. Slick,
the dominoes are starting to fall.
Yes, they are. Slick, I want to get you out of here. It's the middle of the night for you. Tell everybody where they find you and your show.
Well, I'll always be on a Bucs Report. So on the Bucs Report YouTube channel, it's the aftermath with me and AJ Turnip. AJ Turnip does a lot of this stuff. It's about Buck in Time, which is usually him ranting at people, which is kind of fun to watch, to be honest. That guy goes through TikTok and finds people to disagree with, sends them a video back of him disagreeing with them. So I give him kudos for that. Unfortunately for me, I've not been able to do as much digital content as I'm now full season with my team right now. So
right.
we're just about to finish up our preseason and start going to our preseason games to get ready for the season, which starts for us in May. So we're not too far off. We're just finishing our installs, and we have our first preseason game in about 4 weeks. So,
how's your team look?
Defensively, we've been kicking the offense's ass for a while now, and it wasn't until last week we got our noses blooded a little bit. So, in fact, once I finished here, I'm just going to go through some more tape. So,
okay.
Defensively, the coverage is pretty darn sound. We run a 2-read scheme, so that's kind of our bread and butter at the moment. And then, yeah, it's been fun because I'm now working with a team in a higher division, so I'm actually learning rather than trying to teach myself.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of fun.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's just unfortunately I can't do as much content as I was, so I've had to let people know that I can't do this. And they're like, "What about a Friday show?" I'm like, "I don't know about that."
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the fact that we got you here. I've been trying to get you for a while, and I appreciate the fact that you made some time tonight. And everybody, I strongly recommend the Aftermath on Bucs Report. When is it?
It's on Mondays 9:30 because I'm literally walking through the door from work. I'm not far removed from work right now, so I think a little ago. I've been away. I left the office about 50 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
well, I want to tell you, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time, knowledge, and making this place a little bit smarter.
Well, we try. That's all we can do. We can educate. Doesn't mean we're always right, though. The one thing I've always said on my show is I like to have my opinion, but sometimes I'm right. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Have a great night. Have a great night.
Have a great one.
All right, everybody. Slick Probert from Bucs Report, from the Aftermath on Bucs Report, from Bucs UK. Yes,
across
UK.
The pond.
He's across the pond. And all that. We're going to take a quick, just a few seconds break here, and we will be right back to you in, I don't know, just a couple of seconds. It's not going to take long, guys. right. So we packed a lot of information into that, into the show so far. We've crammed a lot of
And
info
his
in here.
Buccaneer fan story is a love story on top of that. That was
How about
fabulous.
that? How about that? So I want to get everybody going on this here. We started a bit of a new segment last week. And it's time once again for dazzling David Weisgarver to take over and tell us maybe who's a little bit maturity challenged this week. That's probably a good way to put it. So, everybody, you should know one thing. When you're around Dave, don't be a baby.
To the hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rock it to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the.
Yeah. All right, don't be a baby. I'm going to take the liberty, if you would allow me, to go outside the realm of football, because the classic "Don't Be a Baby" is Ja Morant from the National Basketball Association. I couldn't pass this up, and like I said last week, we're never going to be lack for material. Let me set the scene for you, for those not familiar. Ja Morant is on the Memphis Grizzlies. They're number 2 in the Western Conference. They're a threat to go to the finals. Well, they were a threat to go to the finals. Here's what's been happening with Mr. Morant. He is, if he would behave himself, he could be the next face of the National Basketball Association. He is flashy. He's smart. He's skilled. He's exciting. He lights up a room. He's naturally charismatic. But we've had some problems, and you're going to tell you why he shouldn't be a baby. In the last year, going back to the last summer, there's been 3 major incidents, not 1, not 2, but 3. One incident was at his home with a pickup game where he and a friend started punching out a teenager. He goes into his house, comes back brandishing a weapon in his belt. Number 1. Number 2, at the mall. You would think going to the mall would be a pleasant experience. Not for Ja and his group. They ended up pushing a security guard in the face, threatening him, and it resulted in the security guard filing charges against Ja and his entourage. The most recent incident took place after an NBA game where, coming from the SUV of Ja's, that somebody had a laser aimed at people from the Indiana Pacers organization. There was a security guard that said that it was a laser that was attached to a gun. Now, after these 3 incidences, I would think, and you would think, that Ja might become more introspective. Think about where he's at in his career. He's only 23 years old, where he wants to get, how he's going to get there, and maybe, just maybe, you want to consider who you're hanging out with and make some changes. That didn't happen. What Ja did was, after losing, no less, not winning, losing, thought it was a great idea to go to a strip club, put himself on TikTok with a gun in his hand. This is what happened. The NBA basically, while they're investigating all of his other antics, they put up a 2-game, like an emergency suspension, saying, Ja, take some time off. The Memphis Grizzlies have said he is not playing indefinitely. And then, of course, there's the agent-written apology that, I'm going to take better care of myself and relieve stress a lot better. Don't be a baby, Ja. You're acting like an immature child, and you're about to throw away several $100 million. You might as well go to the bank, take out a few mil, go in your backyard and burn it, because that's what you're doing. You're acting like a baby. Stop it. Stop it right now. Now, I bring this up also because this is on the Memphis Grizzlies organization, and this is where all sports can learn. There are 2 teams in the National Basketball Association that don't have any player whatsoever 30 years or older. One of them's the Memphis Grizzlies. There's no leadership in that locker room. You got a bunch of 20-somethings who are great athletes, but don't know how to conduct themselves as professionals, and that is on the Memphis Grizzlies organization. Now, bringing it back to the NFL, is there people that could learn from Ja's anti-example? Stetson Bennett comes to mind. Stetson, Mr. Bennett, you're not exactly a prototypical NFL quarterback to begin with. So what were you thinking, acting like a baby, going and getting loaded in Dallas, getting drunk as a skunk, banging on doors, and basically plummeting your chances of a successful NFL career before it even gets started? Who else? Maybe someone else from Georgia comes to mind. Jalen Carter. Let's go back to January where there was an accident, a tragic, unfortunate accident where one of his former teammates and a member of the recruiting team was killed in a car accident. Jalen Carter's initial reaction was he left the scene for 2 hours and denied being there. Jalen, you're a 300-pound, highly skilled athlete. Did you think they were going to forget that you were there? Don't be a baby. What is wrong with these kids these days? They're given all this money, all this fame, and they can't handle it, and they need to stop acting like a baby. Be a man, admit when you're wrong, admit when something happened, own up to it. And the thing that really blows my mind about John Morant is that he grew up in the suburbs and went to a private school, yet he's trying to act like a gangster. Somebody on Twitter put it quite well when they said, usually it's the other way around. You've got people trying to get off the streets and out of the hood and into the NBA, but Ja is going out of his way to go from the NBA to the hood he never came from in the first place. So,
sorry, Dave, I may cut you off a little early there.
Just throwing in a don't be a baby. I mean, Rick, I don't know how long I can keep doing these spots. It's just, it's so traumatic just researching it and putting it together. It's like, what is wrong with these people? I don't know how much longer I can go.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with these people. You all right? Feel okay?
I'll be okay. Thank you for asking.
That's all right. I'm concerned. I know I'm great.
Concerned about me too.
I love the segment. Especially the part with you in the diaper. That's my favorite part. But no, that's that Dave. I love that segment. Thank you, guys. This is Bucs Live. We have covered the draft. We have covered free agency. We have covered the combine. Man, this has been a show packed with information. You got anything you want to add tonight, Dave?
Well, just remember the offseason has a long way to go. The dominoes are starting to fall, but don't panic when you think the Bucs aren't going in the direction you want them to. Next season is not going to be, we're not going to be Super Bowl contenders, and that's okay. I believe that Jason Light is making the necessary decisions to set us up for long-term success.
Excellent. I agree completely. Guys, thank you for tuning in. It's a lot of fun. We'll put up a replay tomorrow, and I'll probably try to, one of these days here coming up here, I'll try to crop out Dave's little segment there and put that up as well. But I want to thank you guys because without you, this whole thing doesn't work. It's fun talking Bucs. That's what we're here for. Dave and I are Bucs fans and have been Bucs fans the better part of our lives. So when I say the better part of our lives, I'm talking
since 10.
Right. Since 8 to 10 years old, we became Bucs fans. So this is here. We are here to enjoy this just like you guys. It's fun to talk Bucs. There's so much stuff going on from the combine and the rumors I get phone calls from guys freaking out over Brady's going to Miami. Everybody's flipping out, and that's part of the fun of football. I know for some of you, that's the cool part. That is the fun part, and enjoy it. Why not? Why not? Enjoy the rumors. Do whatever you got to do to have a good time, because that's what this is all about. I want to thank y'all for being here. I want to thank Bucs Report for, once again, letting us be on their platform. We are also, as always, on our platforms. You can find them at www.bucs.live. You can see all of our links to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all of that. We will be soon, in the next few weeks, we will be also a podcast. We'll be on all the podcasting, so you can listen to us on the way to work. And then you don't have to look at our ugly mugs. But I want to thank you guys for being here. As always, it's, you know what, it's a great day to be a Bucs fan. Go Bucs! Go Bucs! Go Bucs!